Success in business and in life boils down to decisions. Plain and simple. Every decision you make throughout the day will change the outcome of your tomorrow. So that is a tweet that I made a year ago. It was May 27th, 2022. And I learned this pretty early on. I mean, that was literally a year ago now. And what's interesting is that we just, as humans and as people, we overcomplicate everything. I myself, I am a major overthinker. I overthink everything and I overcomplicate everything. I'm also a major perfectionist, which I think that those traits end up being very, very valuable in certain scenarios, but then they are very detrimental in other scenarios and actually hold me back a lot. But when it comes to like overthinking and overcomplicating things, at the end of the day, if you go back to first principles thinking, basically like first principles thinking, if you don't know what that is, it's a scientific way of thinking, and it's basically getting down to the cold hard facts. So basically the first principles. And when it comes to, when you actually think about it with first principles thinking, every single thing throughout your entire life comes down to decisions, and that is it. If you try to come up with anything that doesn't have to do with some type of decision. And what I mean is, say that, for example, say that you want to start waking up earlier in the morning. Well, it's literally binary. Every single choice or decision is binary. It's this or that. So when you decide like, okay, I want to wake up an hour earlier in the morning, well, that next morning, well, first of all, the night before, it comes down to deciding to set your alarm for that earlier time. So that's one thing. That's one decision. It's literally, am I going to set that alarm for the earlier time or am I going to set it for the normal time that I get up? So binary, one or the other. And then in the morning when that alarm goes off, you've got another decision, which is, am I going to get up, like your alarm goes off, am I going to get up and like commit and go with what I basically already decided, which was I'm going to get up an hour earlier, or am I going to turn off my alarm and go back to sleep and sleep till my normal time? Once again, binary. It's either you get up or you go back to sleep. It's that simple. And then everybody like tries to overcomplicate it, and I'm going to use like getting up in the morning as an example, because everybody like they try to get all these different gadgets and they try to come up with all these like interesting ideas and interesting ways of like getting up in the morning and how to like motivate yourself to get up in the morning and all these things, which some of it I think is very relevant. Like I do think you need to know your why and like why you're doing certain things. Like if you're building a business, what's your why behind it, all those types of things, which that's subject for another video. But at the end of the day, like when it comes to actually getting up and getting out of bed earlier in the morning, it literally comes down to as simple as, when my alarm goes off, am I going to get up or am I going to go back to sleep? It's that simple. And that same concept goes for everything in life, literally. Like anybody who's struggling with anything, for example, whether it be like a drinking problem or anything else, like a drinking problem, they like to go out and party all the time, or maybe they're even on some type of drug or something like that, which obviously these are extremes, but it's better to use extremes as examples because then it can really solidify the idea better, I think. So, for example, when it comes to drinking, if somebody is a drinker and they're trying to get over that, well, it literally comes down to this is going to piss a lot of those people off, honestly. But it is literally as simple as making the decision that you are going to stop. Now, obviously, there's a lot of things to keep in mind with certain things like that, such as you obviously don't want to go cold turkey. That's very dangerous. But it still comes down to the simple decision of deciding that you are going to stop drinking. And for example, when it comes to that, it's not like, okay, I'm going to literally stop today and I'm not going to have a single sip, because that might actually be dangerous. So instead what you do is you're going to decide to put together a plan for how you're going to ease off of it, so that within a week, 2 weeks, or however long, I don't know the specifics behind obviously drinking and things, so don't listen to me on that, but I'm just using it as an example. But basically, like, you can decide to put a plan together so that you can ease off of it within like a week or 2 weeks or whatever, so that by the end of that week or 2 weeks or however long that is, you are no longer drinking or having a single sip of alcohol. But it comes down to that initial decision. Like, that's it. Like, there is no trick, there is no anything. It is literally as simple as that. And you do hear all these stories about people who do go cold turkey and all these things, and it's because they decided and they stuck with the decision that they made. And the biggest problem people have is that they make a decision, but they don't stick to it, because every single thing in life comes down to decisions. It's literally binary. It's always this or that. There is no situation where there isn't a decision to be made. Like, for me, for example, I'm building my agency right now, and there's a lot of times, like, I'm not gonna lie, right now, before making this video, I know that I need to, well, first of all, right now before making this video, I was debating on whether or not I wanted to make the video. You know, I was like, it's late, I'm in Cape Town, so it's 7:40 p.m. right now, it's getting late, I kind of want to chill, blah, blah, blah. But then I decided, I was like, you know, what is my goal here? Like, what am I trying to get to? What's my vision? Okay, what decision is going to get me closer to that vision? Is chilling and relaxing going to get me there, or is making this video going to get me there? Making the video is going to get me there. All right, that's what I'm going to do. So that's the decision I made. And then it also comes with, like, me doing outreach in order to get new clients. Like, there's a lot of scenarios where, like, I don't really feel like doing that, so then I think about doing something else, like maybe watching some educational YouTube video or something like that. But then I think again, I'm like, okay, which one of these is going to get me closer to my goal or vision? Well, in that case, doing the outreach is going to get me there, or a lot closer than watching a YouTube video. So that's what I'm going to do. And that goes into another thing, actually. I've got another tweet. It was literally the day after, or not the day after, but the next tweet after that last one I read. But it says, overall, the best way to move towards your goals and not away from them is by defining exactly what your goals are. Then, whenever you have a decision to make, simply make the choice that will move you towards your goal and disregard the choice that would move you farther away. So that's basically what I just explained. So first of all, it's very important to understand where you're trying to go, and obviously putting your goals together, which I'll do that in a different video because I've got a lot of thoughts on that and like how to do it, or how I like doing it, and how I like laying out goals and all these types of things, and how to attack them. But at the end of the day, once you know kind of where you're going, and most of us know where we want to go. Most of us know what we want. Like, for example, the whole drinking thing. Like, most people out there who have that problem, they know they want to stop. Like, they know that, you know? Like, they already know that. It's not even about figuring that out. Most of the time, they know that. It now comes down to, okay, when, like, say you've got your fridge, you know, and you go and you open your fridge because you're thirsty. Well, it's literally as simple as deciding, am I going to grab the water and drink that, or am I going to grab the beer and drink that, or whatever it is, you know? And all you have to ask yourself is, what decision between those two is going to get me closer to my goal of stopping drinking? Well, the water. It's that. So I'm going to go with the water. Like, it's that simple. And once again, this is probably going to irritate a lot of people, but I am literally just talking from first principles thinking, because it literally is this simple. Like, we overcomplicate so much in life. But when it comes down to this, like, literally try and explain to me, if you understand your goal and you understand where you're going, like, say you want to be a millionaire, say you're building a business and you want to be a millionaire, and you kind of like, you understand kind of what needs to be done in your business. Like, hypothetically, you pretty much know what needs to be done in order to grow it and everything. Well, tell me, in what scenario will the person who every single time he faces a decision to be made, he looks at it in a binary way where he's like, okay, this is my goal, making $1 million, that's my goal. Will option A or option B get me closer to that goal? As long as he goes with the option that he genuinely knows will get him closer to that goal, tell me in what scenario will that person, maybe he won't reach it, but tell me in what scenario will that person not at least get closer to it than the person who always decided to go with the latter and the option that isn't really going to get closer to that goal. So, like, it literally comes down to that. Like, it's such a simple concept, but by implementing it, like, into my life, which I gotta admit, like, I don't do it as much as I think I should, and I want to, and I definitely want to start implementing this more, but it's so powerful because it's so simple. Like every single time that you come across a decision and like in your head when you're being lazy. Like me, before I made this video, I knew I was being lazy. I knew I was thinking, I don't really want to make this video. I want to chill. I want to relax. But then I thought about it and I was like, okay, let's set emotions to the side and let's look at this logically. Logically, I know where I'm trying to go. I know what my goal is. Will making the video or will sitting on the couch doing nothing get me closer to that? Well, pretty simple answer, making the video. So let's go ahead and do that. So when you think about things that way, and every time you approach a situation where and most of the time it's literally your emotions that are getting in the way a lot of the time, at least it is for me most of the time. But when you approach it that way and you approach it where you literally just look at it as a binary, this or that, and then you know where you're trying to go, which once again, very important to know where you're trying to go, like know where your goal is or what your goal is or what your vision is and what you're trying to achieve. That's obviously the first step, because if you don't know that, it's literally like when you come to a crossroad a crossroad. I think that's the right word. But when you come to a crossroad or like two options on the road and you don't know like where you're trying to go, you don't know your destination, how are you supposed to know which way to go? You know, like you got to put the destination into your GPS so that it actually tells you what turns to make. It's like, how are you supposed to know where to go? Like if you got these options at a road, which I'm pretty sure is called a crossroad, but correct me if I'm wrong. But how are you supposed to know which way to go if you don't know the destination? You know, like at that point, you're kind of just driving around for nothing, unless you're going for a joyride on a Saturday or Sunday, which is cool. Those are always fun. But regardless, like you need to know where you're going first so that you can actually understand which decision is better. And then once you know where you're going, 99% of the time when it comes to these decisions, it is so simple to know which one is actually going to lead you closer to that. The hard part is actually acting on it. You know, like in the morning, it is so hard. It is so hard when your alarm goes off at 5 a.m. and you are so comfy, it's pitch black outside, your bed is so comfortable, and you're groggy, you're tired, your alarm's going off, you have to get out of bed, turn it off, which by the way, quick hack, I highly recommend that you set your alarm or your phone or whatever away from your bed, maybe even in another room so that you have to actually get up out of bed to turn it off. Makes it a lot easier to get up in the morning. But anyway, it is so hard to turn that alarm off and actually get up. You know already, like by thinking this way, you know that by getting up, that's going to get you closer to your destination or your goal or whatever. The hard part now is acting on the right decision. You know, you've got the two, go to bed, go back to bed, or get up. The hard part is acting on the getting up and actually getting after your day. So yeah, anyway, I think I've pretty much explained it as much as I can, but by implementing this way of thinking, I think that there's really no possible way. Like if you really stuck to this, and even myself, like if I really stuck to this, like hardcore, and I didn't let emotions ever get in the way, and I literally only acted on the decision that I know is going to get me closer to my goal, I don't think there's any possible scenario that I'm not at least going to continuously get closer to whatever that goal is. So I think that implementing this is really, really powerful. But anyway, hopefully you got some value from this. And if you did, consider subscribing. And if you didn't and you thought this was stupid, make sure to let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts if you disagree with me and if you agree. But anyway, I will see you guys in the next one. Cheers.